The Morgan dollar is one of my favorite series, the vintage Morgans, just because it's so diverse, from the mint marks to the unique varieties that are inside of them, but then also because of the Pittman Act in 1918 destroying over 60% of all of them ever struck. It just creates, well, where is the real rarity? So we spend a lot of time and effort on that on this side of the fence so we can have some great conversations. And tonight we have one of the keys under $100 for the first time, and I can't remember when. So let's have some fun. Now, Philadelphia Morgans, well, Philadelphia made a Morgan every single year, as with the San Francisco. So from 1878 to 1904, and then again in 1921, 28 years, the Philadelphia Mint, the main mint, was in production. And during this time, there are coins that are just special coins. And we can rattle off the tops, right? Like with the rarest of all was the 93S, and right behind that, number 2, etc. So you look at the Philadelphias, right? The Philadelphias, you have the 1899 up there with the 1894. Then you have the 1893, the 1894. Right in the middle of all this really should be the 1902. If you go to the old school, which is the guidebooks, and you look at how many were made, you're going to see 7.9 million coins, which is an average year. Outright, it just is. But then those of you that have been to shows or in the past have frequented shows, you know you're not going to find O2Ps. They're just not out there. Well, how come? Well, that's part of what I referenced earlier, which was the Pittman Act of 1918, the English needing silver reserves to offset the run on their banks in India. Their silver certificates were being run on as part of the war at the time, World War I. We can't send them Morgan dollars because Woodrow Wilson, our president, we're still neutral. We're not in the war yet. The doughboys didn't go over there yet. So Senator Pittman proposes we melt down some Morgans, send them the silver, help the situation. And we do. We just didn't keep record of, and that makes coins that have a vintage of 8 million, well, end up being rarer than coins that they only made 500,000. And it's because significant parts of production got totally destroyed. If you envision, and something that I use that sometimes helps, maybe it'll help here, is if you envision a vault, right? And the Morgan dollar was a 28-year vault. You put coins in there once a year for 28 years. When you open the door to the vault, you're not dropping the 1878s by the door. You're going all the way to the back, right? And every year you're putting the next stack in front of it. So when you're done with the series, when you open the door, the last coin they would have seen would have been 1904. Remember, the Pittman Act was 1918. The 21s were not made yet. So if you're opening the door and you see 04s, you're not going to go to the back of the vault to grab 78s to melt. You're going to grab the 04s, the 03s, the 02s, etc., and just start melting those out. And if you look at the actual, well, population reports, NGC and PCGS, independent certification. And I know these are not certified, but the data they give us solidifies why the prices on some of these coins are in different places than we might expect. If you look at NGC as an example, who is the largest of all the grading services, if you look at what they have seen in the last 40 years, they made 7.9 million coins, all grades. So it's circulated all the way through the finest known. All grades, 8,307. Not even 10,000 coins have been seen. So it explains why these coins are so special when you get to uncirculated condition. So now let's talk about the grade for a quick second. These are what we call super sliders. You look at them and you think they're uncirculated, but we are telling you and we know they're not. They are high grade circulated coins. It's called about uncirculated, AU. And when I talk about uncirculated coins, based on where I pause, I can change the grade. So we don't use about uncirculated other than just talking because it gets to be very confusing and we don't want it to be. Because uncirculated coins sell for a huge premium. And if you think I'm talking about an uncirculated coin versus about uncirculated as a coin, you can see where it kind of gets mumbled. And we don't want that for anybody. We want you as a happy customer, a satisfied customer, and if you send it into NGC, you're going to get a 53 to a 55 grade, which is where you're supposed to. Where I'm going with this is the fact that the value reference. If a circulated coin sells for $70 and an uncirculated coin sells for, which is a mint state 60, sells for $500. Where does that closest to uncirculated coin sell for? And if you're looking at $350, $400, you might say, hey, for the extra $100 or $200, I'm going to get an uncirculated coin. I'm going to go up the next step up because I can afford it. We look at it in the same mannerism, except when we find coins that are in that scope of quality, like these, and they're right on top of the circulated price. The jump is to get the finest quality you can afford, and some of these coins are just outright gorgeous. I mean, look at the breast feathers on these eagles. These are high-grade circulated coins, and they look that nice. Some people call them AUBUs, which is not fair because they're not BUs, but they're darn close, right in that middle category. Look at our price, everybody. My competition, again, on circulated coins. We're talking about VG to fine, which is a 8 to a 12. They're at $100. We're at 53 to 55 at $99 less. For the exact same grade that we have tonight, they are at $210. Guys, give me a 30-second clock. We didn't have a lot of these to start into this. If you're visiting us via the web, avccoins.com, our dedicated site here for collectible coins on America's Value Channel. If it's in your shopping cart, you're going to hang around, thank you, but push it through, lock it down. We'll let you know when things are close to a sellout, and this one in the next 3 to 5 minutes is going to be away. A lot of people on the phone, and we didn't have a lot to start with, but at this price, I understand why. Right? When you compare it to the 1893s, the 1894s, the 7/8 tail feathers, the 8 tail feathers, the 78 CCs, all the fabled coins, we're looking at 16,000, 30,000, 25,000 coins known. This one's 8,307. Significantly rarer, but more affordable. That's why I love it. Guys, we got to be moving on.